Welcome to Soul Food Kitchen's online plant-based cooking class. This is the second one in the series, and we're doing this once every month on the second Sunday of the month. And so we just want to welcome you back. Now tonight we're going to be showing you 3 savory recipes. Now these are all going to be plant-based, and all these recipes are going to have similar ingredients. So you're going to be able to, go out and buy these ingredients and then hopefully be able to make 3 different recipes that you can introduce into your meal plan. And so, but tonight I wanted to touch on a little bit about our immunity, our immune system, because if you don't already know, we're living in quite a crisis, a pandemic of COVID-19, and this has a lot to do with our immune system. Now, what is the immune system? The immune system is our primary defense against illness and death. And so we have these little things in our body called white blood cells, and our white blood cells are like our soldiers. They go out and fight against disease. And if we have a lot of these white blood cells, our immune system is really good. But if we don't have these white blood cells, or we do have them but they're not functioning very well, that's when we have a weak immune system. That's when we get sick. That's when we get the cold and the flu, and not just that, but cancer and things like that, because our immune system is actually what detects cells that are not functioning properly so that they can be removed from the body. So what we want is a strong immune system. Now, there's many different things that can help our immune system be strong, and one of them is food. You might not think that food has anything to do with your immune system, but it really, really does. And so I want to share with you quickly a study that was just done on frontline workers who have been exposed to high levels of COVID-19. And this study was done by the British Journal, and it was over a 2-month period on doctors and nurses who are continually exposed to COVID-19. And what they did was they looked at their diet. Did their diet have anything to do with them getting infected moderately or severely with COVID-19? You will be astounded at these results. There's no other study that's been done like this before about disease and the correlation between diet. And what they found is that the doctors and nurses who had a plant-based diet were 73% a lower risk of getting moderate to severe COVID. That's 70% lower risk. So that's quite amazing. But you know what they also found? And this is going to really shock a lot of you, that people who are on a keto diet, which is very, very common in these days, the paleo diet, the more keto diet, which is very low carbohydrate, very high protein, very high fat, they had a 43% increase risk of COVID-19, moderately to severe. So that's nearly 50% increase in your risk of getting COVID-19 just by what you eat. So what you eat is super important. I'm just going to give you 3 tips on how to boost your immunity through food. So the first one is garlic. Now, there's studies being done on garlic that show that garlic is very high antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antibiotic, natural antibiotic. There have been some studies done on it. But what I want to share with you, it's not just particularly one type of food that's going to help, boost your immunity, because there's also vitamin C and things like this. But it's actually just eating plant foods. If you're eating a wide variety of whole plant foods, lots of vegetables, lots of fruits, grains, nuts and seeds, this is actually going to really help boost your immunity, fight against disease and cancer and flus and colds. Just like the study that I told you about with these doctors and nurses who are being exposed to COVID, their diet played a massive role in them not getting this flu, this disease. But one thing I want to do, add garlic into your diet. The next tip is there anything that I should be avoiding that would weaken my immune system? The answer is a big fat yes. So there's also studies showing that a high fat, oily diet weakens your immune system. So your white blood cells, which I told you about, which help fight these, which is part of your immune system. When you have a high fat, oily diet, whether it's fried foods, whether it's a high keto diet, high fat diet, your white cells, they're said under a microscope, they do not go well with all this fat, oily stuff. They do not function properly. They're weakened so that they can't do their job in detecting disease in your body. Another thing that you should avoid is high processed sugar. So this is talking about your white sugar, your raw sugar. Now, carbohydrate, which is sugar, is really good for you, but you want to be getting rid of processed sugar out of your diet. This really, really impacts your immune system. Having, chocolate with lots of sugar in it, these things, they immediately lessen your immune system. Now, what's another thing that you can do to help it? I've already told you about garlic, eating a whole food plant-based diet, and having a low fat, low oily diet, and avoiding sugar. Now, you can also do things that don't involve food, but I've already given you a few tips and I really hope you can put these into practice. Going out in the sunshine, getting vitamin D is so good for your immune system. But let me just stop there. I don't want to overload you with too much information, but just know that what you put into your body is going to either help you or it's going to hurt you. It's either going to help fight disease or it's going to help bring on disease. So tonight we're showing you 3 plant-based recipes that are going to help your brain, which we've been talking about, and also your immune system. So without further ado, let's get into the fun part and let's start cooking. My name's Leah and I'm going to be showing you the oat burger tonight for our cooking demonstration. So these are the ingredients that you're going to need. Firstly, you're going to need 4 cups of water, and you're going to put that in a pot on the stove just like this, and you want to get that going straight away. Then you're also going to need half a cup of soy sauce or liquid aminos or Bragg's, also a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast flakes, 2 tablespoons of canola oil or rice bran oil, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed, 1 tablespoon of dried basil, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of dried sage, and 1 cup of walnuts finely chopped, and 4 cups of rolled oats. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is turn your stove on, get your water going, because we want that water to start to boil. And then we're going to add in all of our ingredients except for our oats. So I've already got the water here that's been turned on and it's now started to boil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the ingredients that we are going to make. So yes, we're going to put in our soy sauce or our tamari or liquid aminos into our water here. Then we're going to put in our nutritional yeast flakes. Now, if you've never seen this before, this is the brand that I use, and I just get this from my health food store, and that's what it looks like. So don't put in yeast as in the yeast that you make bread with, but nutritional yeast flakes. We're going to just put that in the water here. Then we're going to put in our 2 tablespoons of oil. Now I'm using rice bran oil, but you could also use canola oil as well. So we're just going to pour that in there into our water that's quite warm, it's nearly boiling. And then we're going to put in all our herbs and spices here. So I have here the dried basil, that's 1 tablespoon. I've got our onion powder, which is 2 teaspoons. I've got our garlic powder. Now, if you don't have the garlic powder, I actually like to put fresh garlic in this as well, so I have done that in the past. But if you don't want to chop up garlic, then you can just put the powder in. Also, we've got our 1 teaspoon of coriander, and then our flaxseed, and we've got here our sage. So we're just going to pour all these into the mix. And we've got our 1 cup of finely chopped walnuts. Literally, this is so simple, this recipe, and all we're going to do is we're going to just stir that in. And as soon as this starts to boil, we're going to turn it off the heat, and then we're going to add our oats in this bowl with this, this mixture. So this is nearly boiled as it is. I want to talk to you about flaxseed, which is the 1 tablespoon that we're using in this. So I have here the whole flaxseed, and I recommend using the whole instead of buying the already bought in the store, because the one in the store has already gone rancid and it can easily be affected by air and light. So it's always best to do it fresh. And I know not everyone would be able to do that, but what I do is just get my flaxseed and I get my little NutriBullet blender here, or this little magic bullet, and just simply pour it in there and whiz this up. It takes about 10 seconds, and that's how I get my ground flaxseed. So if you can, I would do that. So this has started to boil, so I'm just going to turn it off, and we're going to get our 4 cups of oats, and we're just going to put that in our bowl. And then we're going to pour our mixture, our hot boiled mixture, into here. Make sure you get everything out so you don't miss any of the flavors. It smells delicious already. Okay, so once we've got our mixture in, we're just going to mix the oats in with all this wet ingredients here. Now, the other ingredient that's really good for the body in this recipe is the walnuts. And if you missed our last demonstration, it was all about how to boost your brain. And this is a continuation of that, because these ingredients in here is also got high in omega-3 fats, and which is your walnuts and your flaxseed. They're like one of the highest sources. And omega-3 fats are so important in our diet, and we're very low in them actually. And the plant sources are superior to the animal sources that you get from omega-3. So I'm just stirring the oats here, as you can see, into, and what we're going to do is just going to let this sit here for a while it absorbs all the moisture. And I'm going to get something to put over this, and we're going to let this sit. So I'll just make sure it's all stirred in first. Now let me just get something to put over this. So now I've got the lid on here, and we're just going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. And it's just going to absorb everything, and then we're going to get into making the actual oat burgers. So we'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, once you've allowed your mixture to cool down a bit, now we're going to form the patties. And what I use to do this is just a lid from a jar. So if you have any preserving jars, or you have any mason jars, or you have any lid around this size, then this is how we use to make them all uniform and nicely shaped. So what you just want to do is get your mixture and put it in the lid, and then you want to just pat it down. Now this is still probably a bit too hot, but nonetheless, this is what I'm going to do to show you. And then we've got to have our tray here with some baking sheet paper on it. One more thing to note, that you should have put your oven on to 180 degrees Celsius, fan forced, if you have fan forced. So make sure you go turn the oven on now if you haven't done that. And now, we're just going to put these onto the tray. So as you can see, nicely comes out into a nice shape. So they can all be of the same size. And they just sort of drop out, which is really handy. If you leave them for too long to cool down, they actually become quite sticky and they don't drop out as easily of the lid. So it's good to do it when they're still a bit warm. And there we go. The first one always comes out the best. So basically this is what you're going to do until they're all done. And then we're going to put them in the oven. Once you've got all your burger patties out in a tray, I still have a lot of the mixture in here, you're going to put these in the oven for 20 minutes and then you're going to flip them and then bake them for another 20 minutes. I've already made some of these previously, so I'll show you what I do with them. So these have been frozen in my freezer, so this batch makes about 16 to 18 burger patties, so it makes quite a lot, and they really do well in the freezer. So I've just got this container here and I've separated the bottom layer from the top layer with some baking sheet paper. So we just put our oat patties in there and fill this up, and you can just pop that in the freezer, and when you're feeling like you have not much time to make something, you can just get that out of the freezer and heat them up. And you know, the best way to reheat these is to get your sandwich press, put them in the sandwich press, put it down, cooks them really quickly because it's got the heat coming from the bottom and the top. And then you can use this in many different ways. So I'm going to show you some pictures now of how you can utilize this recipe. You can use this with just, you know, a baked dinner, or the other night we had it with a potato bake with some salad, which was really lovely. But you also, I guess the most common thing you'd use it for is for a burger, because this is called an oat burger patty. So you can get some nice whole wheat bread. You can put on your toppings of your choice. I go with beetroot, tomato, hummus or some sort of sauce, or avocado, onion, you know, whatever you like on your burger. And this makes a really good substitute for a meat patty or hamburger. So I really hope that you can try this recipe out. And like I said, it's really good for the brain because it's got the omega-3 and it's high in melatonin. So it's going to help you produce that good night's sleep that you really need. And the oats and the rest of it's just got a lot of flavor, but the oats, you know, are great carbohydrate, and they also have protein in them as well. And we really should be feeding our bodies with good complex carbohydrates, which are what our body is fueled from. It's fueled from its primary source of fuel, its preferred source of fuel is carbohydrates. So if anyone's telling you that carbs are bad, don't listen to them. Our body loves to eat good carbs. Let me make that clear. We're not talking about the donuts or the white bread or the processed pastas. I'm talking about whole foods like our potatoes, our rice, our oats. This is what our body loves to be fueled with. And so try this recipe out. Let me know if you like it, if you added something. I sometimes tweak this recipe with different herbs. If I don't have dried basil, I'll use rosemary or just mixed herbs and parsley. So, you know, you don't have to be hard and fast set in the one recipe. You can spice things up a little bit. So yeah, give it a go and let us know we would really love to hear from you how you like these recipes. So now I'm going to hand it over to Liz, who's going to show you a different type of savory patty that you can make.
Good evening, my name is Liz and I'm here to demonstrate a fantastic and versatile savoury recipe. It is walnut and zucchini patties, and for this recipe you will need a cup of oats, a cup of walnuts, 2 cups of breadcrumbs, and that's whole bread, that can be either gluten-free or non-gluten-free. We have herbs, we have salt, and we have some mixed herbs, a teaspoon of each of those. Also, we have 3 medium zucchinis, clove of garlic, an onion, and a small bunch of parsley. All of these ingredients are plant-based, they're healthy, and they're going to make us healthy, wealthy, and wise. So you will also need I've got a Thermomix, but you don't need a Thermomix. You can even chop these things up if you like, or if you've just got a normal food processor, that's fantastic as well. So what we're going to do is we're just simply going to put our first 3 ingredients in our food processor or Thermomix. 1 cup of walnuts, 1 cup of oats, and 2 cups of our breadcrumbs. We're just going to go over here and pulverise those for a minute. Okay, so that's the texture that I like to have for my zucchini patties. You don't want it too fine, but if you like it really fine, that's also okay, but it's nice to have a good texture with these patties because it makes them more like a burger, and yeah, and you feel like you can chew into it a little bit more. Now we're going to add our 3 medium zucchinis, our garlic, 1 onion, and our parsley. And we'll just pulverise that for a couple of seconds as well. Okay, so I've just pulverised that, and that's a consistency. It's a good consistency there. So we'll just add that to our dry ingredients. So we use our wet ingredients first, and we add our our wet ingredients to our dry ingredients. We don't need to add any water. We don't need to add eggs or anything like that. Now, what I love about this recipe is the whole family will love it. It's very quick, it's very easy. We'll just get out the rest. We don't want to waste any of that beautiful food. Now, the zucchinis that are in this recipe, they're high in folate, potassium, and also vitamin A. Okay, so now we're going to add to our ingredients. Our last of our ingredients, we're going to add our salt and a teaspoon of mixed herbs. It's a teaspoon of each of those. Then we're just going to mix that in to form a nice, moist burgers they'll be. And it's good. They've got a nice, good texture there. So what we'll be doing now is making them into patties or burgers. Now you can either fry these, seeing we have a fry pan right here, I'll fry them, but you can also form them into patties and put them in the oven. And they take 20 minutes on each side in the oven, and around the same time if you're frying them. These are really versatile because you can use them with vegetables, you can put them with a salad, you can put them with a baked dinner. So there's many different ways you can use, and leftovers are great. Even in a school lunchbox, you can put them there. They can even go on a sandwich. So now we're just going to form. They're nice and moist. Just form that into a burger, into a patty. Just give it a good squeeze. And there we can place it in the fry pan. Now, one of the things that are in this are walnuts, and walnuts are really high in omega-3. Omega-3 fats are essential for us in our brain health. Also, omega-3 is a polyunsaturated fat, not a saturated fat, so it's actually one of the good fats. And here we'll just pop those in there, and we'll just give them a couple of minutes to start browning on either side. As you can see, this is a very quick, very easy recipe that the family will love. Okay. All right, in zucchinis, zucchinis have carotenoids, and carotenoids are found in plants, and it protects the plants. But the carotenoid is also very helpful in the metabolism of human beings as well. So that's one of the benefits of zucchinis. They're very low in fat and they're high in fibre. Fibre is fantastic for digestion, and they're high in water content. Folate also helps the body make really good red blood cells, and it's extremely important for pregnant women. Folate is actually an electrolyte and is really good for helping control blood pressure as well. Let me just check our patties, see how they're going. Oh yes, they need just a little bit longer. I'm just turning our patties over. Okay, here are our completed patties, full of omega-3 fats, which we discussed last time in the last program that we got together. It has been proven that stress and inflammation can cause real problems with cognitive decline, but omega-3 fats are essential oils, and they are it's imperative that we get these omega-3 fats into our brain, and this is an excellent source and a way which you can achieve that for great cognitive brain function. And that's what we're aiming in these programs, to really help uplift your mood, boost your energy, and give you vitality in life. So thank you so much for listening and joining in tonight. Thank you.
Welcome everyone to my humble little kitchen. For those who weren't here last month, I'm Amy, and I'll be sharing a tofu loaf recipe with you today. You'll need a mixing bowl and a spoon and your prepared ingredients. Make sure you preheat the oven to 180 degrees. Firstly, we will add to the bowl 1.5 cups of oats. Now, oats are a good source of fibre and thiamine, which is a vitamin B. Then we will add 1/2 cup of walnuts, blended, to get our omega-3 and our tryptophan. Then we will add 450 grams of crumbled tofu, which is your normal size package from the shops. It's very high in tryptophan and iron also. Then we will add 1 chopped onion. Then we have 1/2 cup of chopped parsley, or any herb really, but parsley is good for purifying the blood and it's high in vitamin K. We then have 1/2 cup of tomato paste. And 1/3 of a cup of tamari sauce, or soy sauce. We then have 2 to 4 minced garlic cloves, the more the better, I say, and 1 tablespoon of yeast spread, so like a Vegemite, but I actually made my own. It's a healthy version, which is nutritional yeast flakes, black tahini and soy sauce. So now you just mix all this together, and then you will add it to your baking dish and cook for an hour. Now, there's different ways you can eat this loaf. You can have it with a salad or some veggies as a meal, or maybe even slice it up and put it on a sandwich. Now, I hope you guys can give this recipe a go and enjoy.
I hope you enjoyed tonight's 3 savory recipes. Now don't forget, we are doing this online plant-based cooking class once a month, the second Sunday of every month. So stay tuned in for our one in October. And I hope you can invite someone who maybe needs to hear some about how to eat plant-based. We'll be giving you more tips and tricks how to be healthy and live the best life that you can. So we'll see you next time. And if you want all these recipes emailed to you, please put your email address in the comments section of this video, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. We can get these recipes sent to you. I'll also put the link to the British Journal study that I mentioned earlier about the COVID frontline workers, if you want to go check that out. But really hope you enjoyed tonight's program, and we'd love to hear from you. Share, like, comment. We really want to get your feedback about what you like and what you'd like to see from us. If there's something that you want us to be demonstrating, let us know so we can prepare some plant-based recipes for you and show you how to eat healthier and have a healthy brain and immune system. So we'll see you next time.